Assalamu alaikum. Now, after studying the heart and the circulatory tree, we are in a position to study the cardiac output, that is, the blood volume ejected by each ventricle into the circulatory tree, the left ventricle into the aorta, and the right ventricle into the pulmonary artery per minute. The cardiac output, it is defined as the quantity of the blood pumped into the great vessels each minute by the ventricles. So the left ventricle is going to pump it into the aorta and the right ventricle is pump the cardiac output per minute into the lungs. दूसरी बात जो इसके लिए इम्पॉर्टेंट है, इट इज़ द सम ऑफ द ब्लड फ्लोज टू ऑल द टिश्यूज ऑफ द बॉडी, और ये आपने पहले डायग्राम्स में देख चुके हैं, वही डायग्राम्स में आपके लिए दोबारा लगा दूंगी। उसके ऊपर लिखा हुआ होगा इट इज़ द सम ऑफ द ब्लड फ्लोज टू ऑल द टिश्यूज ऑफ द बॉडी, सो यू कैन look at it and you can understand. So the venous return is the quantity of the blood flowing from the veins into the right atrium, flowing from the systemic veins into the right atrium each minute, and flowing from the pulmonary veins into the left atrium each minute. जो हार्ट में ब्लड आ रहा है वो venous return है, जो जा रहा है वो cardiac output है. So the venous return and the cardiac output must equal each other, except for a few heartbeats at a time when blood is temporarily stored in the heart and lungs or removed from the heart and lungs. ये जो आखिरी जुमला है, that is for the respiratory movements. During inspiration, lungs expand and retain a large amount of blood within them, and during expiration, the lungs compress and remove large amount of blood from the lungs into the left ventricle. So left ventricle का जो है वो expiration के दौरान venous return ज़्यादा है और inspiration के दौरान venous return कम है, whereas right ventricle का venous return inspiration के दौरान ज़्यादा है और expiration के दौरान कम है. So otherwise the venous return and the cardiac output must equal each other, but there are some conditions and that I have told you. So here you are, the sum of all local tissue flows is equal to the cardiac output, and you see brain has got 13% and heart has got 4%, and skeletal muscle has got 20%, skin has got 9%, kidney is 20% again, abdominal organs 24%, and other tissues of the body, bones, etc., they have got 10%. इसको आप total करेंगे 100% बन जाता है. So the sum of all local tissue flows is equal to the cardiac output. So the normal values for cardiac output, जहाँ भी CO इकट्ठा capital letters में अब आगे इस lecture में आएगा, that will be cardiac output. So the normal values for cardiac output at rest and during activity are, the average cardiac output for the resting adult is 5 liters per minute, and the factors that affect the cardiac output are, number one, the basic level of body metabolism. That is where you are doing exercise, and in pregnancy body metabolism is more, during rest and during sleep body metabolism is less, so the cardiac output is affected by these conditions. Age, the next factor, it is maximum at the age of 10 years and then decreases with increasing age, as does the body activity and mass of some tissues. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जब आप 10 साल के होते हैं तो आपकी बॉडी एक्टिविटी सबसे ज़्यादा होती है. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप एक्सरसाइज सबसे ज़्यादा करते हैं, बल्कि इसका मतलब ये है कि बॉडी के मेटाबॉलिक एक्टिविटी जो है वो 10 साल की उम्र में सबसे ज़्यादा होती है, क्योंकि ग्रोथ हो रही होती है। एंड मैस ऑफ सम टिश्यूज़ के आपके स्केलेटल मसल जो हैं वो बन रहे होते हैं 10 साल की उम्र में, और बूढ़ी उम्र में आपके स्केलेटल मसल कम हो रहे होते हैं साइज में। इवन बोन्स में से कैल्शियम निकल रही होती है, उनका साइज और थिकनेस वो भी कम हो रही होती है। The size and gender of the person is the other factor. In young healthy men, the resting cardiac output is 5.6 liters per minute, and in women it is about 4.9 liters per minute. Altitude, it is more at the high altitude. Emotions, it is more in anxiety. So now we can see that the factors those that are affecting the cardiac output are: number one, physiological variations; number two, drugs; and number three, physical activity. So anxiety, food intake, pregnancy, exercise, hot environmental temperature increases the cardiac output. There is variation in cardiac output with age, in sex, posture, and sleep. And the drugs that decrease the cardiac output are beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, antiarrhythmic drugs, alcohol, and general anesthesia. Whereas digitalis, calcium ion, sympathomimetic drugs, caffeine, and theophylline increase the cardiac output. The third factor that affects the cardiac output is physical training. If you keep on training a person for exercise, the muscle mass increases and the demand of the body increases. You can say the metabolic activity of the body increases, and this gradually increases the size of the heart by increasing the number of the myofibrils in the heart. So when the size of the heart is increased, cardiac output will increase. Also, the physical training increases the effect of vagal tone on the heart rate, so that baseline heart rate decreases. पैरासिम्पैथेटिक एक्टिविटी जो है वो उसकी ज़्यादा हो जाती है। नॉर्मली जो हमारी पैरासिम्पैथेटिक एक्टिविटी नॉर्मल कंडीशंस में होती है, और जो हमारी सिंपैथेटिक एक्टिविटी नॉर्मल कंडीशंस में होती है, जब ये बैलेंस करती हैं, इक्विलिब्रियम पे आती हैं, तो हमारा हार्ट रेट जो है वो 72 बीट्स पर मिनट 70 to 80 बीट्स पर मिनट पर होता है। लेकिन जब वेगल टोन इंक्रीज हो जाती है फिजिकल ट्रेनिंग से, तो अब पैरासिम्पैथेटिक और सिंपैथेटिक जहाँ इक्विलिब्रियम पर आती हैं वो 50 to 60 बीट्स पर मिनट पर चला जाता है। If you want to calculate the cardiac output, it will be cardiac output is equal to stroke volume into heart rate. The cardiac output is expressed in milliliters per minute, the stroke volume as milliliters per beat, and heart rate as beats per minute. So the average heart rate is 70 beats per minute. Average stroke volume is 70 to 80 milliliter per beat, and average cardiac output is 5000 milliliter per minute. It can also be expressed by the formula: cardiac output is equal to blood pressure divided by total peripheral resistance. अब जो हमने फैक्टर्स किए उनमें the cardiac output increases in proportion to the surface area of the body, ये पॉइंट भी था। और एक और, जैसे कि बॉडी मैस हमने कहा था कि जैसे इंक्रीज होता है तो फिर कार्डियक आउटपुट इंक्रीज होता है। तो कार्डियक इंडेक्स इज द कार्डियक आउटपुट पर स्क्वायर मीटर ऑफ द बॉडी सरफेस एरिया। आपने स्क्वायर जरूर लिखना है, पर स्क्वायर मीटर ऑफ द बॉडी सरफेस एरिया। तो अब आप यहाँ पर साइड पे डायग्राम जो है इसे देख रहे हैं। The at zero age, 0 years है, 0 age नहीं है, the cardiac output is 2.5 liters per minute per meter square, and as the child grows it becomes 4 liters per minute per meter square. ये तेजी से बढ़ा है, बच्चा बड़ा हो रहा है उम्र में, तेजी से बढ़ रहा है, At the 10 years of age, it is maximum and then it decreases down to 80 years पर उन्होंने आपको 70 पे कह लें 2 liters per minute 2 point something per minute दिखाया है. So the cardiac index is the cardiac output per square meter of the body surface area. The average human being who weighs 70 kilograms has a body surface area of about 1.7 square meters, and the cardiac output at this position is 3 liters per minute. 40 years of age पर 70 kilograms का जो बंदा है उसका 3 liters per minute per meter square आपके पास cardiac output आ रहा है. So these were the physiological variations in the cardiac output, and you know that when there is some disease, of course, the cardiac output will again change. So what happens when the cardiac output increases because of some disease? These are two conditions, hyperthyroidism and fever. Both of them increase the heart rate, and because of that there is increase in the cardiac output, whereas the pathological decrease or abnormal decrease in the cardiac output due to some disease is hypothyroidism, hypovolemia, hemorrhage and myocardial infarction. इनमें क्या होता है, इसमें हार्ट रेट कम होता है, इसमें वॉल्यूम कम होता है. हार्ट रेट कम होगा तो कार्डियक आउटपुट कम होगा. Volume, when it decreases, the stroke volume decreases and the cardiac output decreases. Hemorrhage, again it is decrease in the volume. Myocardial infarction, when the stroke volume decreases because there is less force of contraction in the heart, this also decreases the cardiac output. So now, what are the factors that regulate the cardiac output? All those factors that regulate the stroke volume and those factors that regulate the heart rate are going to regulate the cardiac output, because cardiac output's formula is stroke volume into the heart rate. So let's go back to our lectures in the heart, in which we were studying the factors regulating stroke volume and the factors regulating the heart rate. And here we are, the first factor that regulates the stroke volume is the intrinsic property of the cardiac muscle, and it is related to the venous return. So you see, whenever there is increase in the venous return, the end diastolic volume increases. This stretches upon the muscles of the heart, and due to that, according to Frank-Starling's law, increased stretch causes increased strength of cardiac contraction, and this increases the stroke volume. So this intrinsic property is actually, we are talking about the Frank-Starling's law, and we see that the mechanism is increased end diastolic volume, increases the initial length of the muscle fiber, leading to more forceful contraction and increased stroke volume. So the factors that are going to affect the end diastolic volume are ventricular distensibility, duration of the diastole, atrial contraction and venous return. You know that if the ventricle is healthy, it will distend and it will accommodate blood. If the ventricle has got more fibers as compared to the contractile elements, muscles, as in case of the hypertension, then it will not distend properly to receive the end diastolic volume. Number two is the duration of the diastole. As we increase the heart rate, the diastole shortens. जो उसमें diastasis का period होता है जिसके अंदर कोई movement of blood नहीं हो रही होती, वो आसानी से shorten हो जाता है, और उसके बाद जब वो shorten हो जाता है तब तक तो end diastolic volume is normal. But if the duration of the diastole is decreased to 1/3 the normal duration of diastole, then the end diastolic volume cannot be maintained and it decreases. Atrial contraction में, you know that the atria, when they contract, they fill 20 to 30% of the blood volume into the ventricle. So when the atrial contraction is absent, and when is the atrial contraction absent? बताओ. Atrial fibrillation में क्या होता है? there are multiple foci in the excitable muscle which are causing quivering of the atrial muscle. There are multiple foci in the atrial muscle that are causing quivering of the atrial muscle, and this does not produce a single contraction of the atrial syncytium. The weak contractions of individual muscle fibers do not produce syncytial atrial contraction, and because of that this 20 to 30% of the blood does not reach the ventricle to make end diastolic volume, and so the end diastolic volume decreases. And then if the venous return is not coming back into the heart, the factors that are affecting the end diastolic volume, venous return, if it is not coming to the heart, then of course as the venous return is equal to the cardiac output, if the venous return decreases, cardiac output will decrease. So what is the venous return depending upon? It is depending upon the total blood volume. अगर किसी को hemorrhage हो गया है, blood volume कम हो गया है, तो फिर थोड़ा ही वापस आएगा. Then there is mean systemic filling pressure. This is the pressure present in the blood vessels of the systemic circulatory system, from aorta to the superior and inferior vena cava, and this is 7 millimeter of mercury when you have clamped the aorta and the superior inferior vena cava. जब आप उसे क्लैंप कर देते हैं सुपीरियर और इंफीरियर वीना केवा को, तो बीट हार्ट बीट का जो इफेक्ट आ रहा था 120 मिलीमीटर ऑफ मर्करी फोर्स जो इसको मिल रही थी ब्लड को, जिसके जरिए वो पंप हो रहा था इनटू द एओर्टा, दैट फैक्टर इज लॉस्ट. नाउ व्हाटएवर प्रेशर इज exerted on the walls of the blood vessels in the systemic circulatory system is the pressure of the volume of blood present in those blood vessels. जो एओर्टा में वॉल्यूम मौजूद है वो उसका प्रेशर होगा, जो आर्टरीज में और बाकी आर्टरीज में वॉल्यूम मौजूद है उसका वो प्रेशर होगा जो वो एक्सर्ट करेगा, और कैपिलरीज में जितना प्रेशर होगा, जितना ब्लड कैपिलरीज में एक वक्त में मौजूद होगा, दैट विल डिटरमिन द प्रेशर इन द कैपिलरीज. फिर वेन्स का, और फिर जब इन सबको जमा करके और उसका मीन निकाला जाए, तो इफ इट इज 7 millimeter of mercury, then you understand that this person is going to get a good venous return. और अगर ये 7 millimeter of mercury से कम हो जाता है, venous return will decrease. Total peripheral resistance. So the total peripheral resistance is another feature that causes venous return. अब जो veins के अंदर blood है, जो arterioles के अंदर sympathetic tone है that is supplying the smooth muscle fibers, if the smooth muscle fibers are well contracted, then the TPR, total peripheral resistance, is good. If the smooth muscle fibers are relaxed due to any reason, then the total peripheral resistance is decreased. Similarly, if the veins are having good sympathetic supply and good sympathetic discharge from the nervous system, then the smooth muscle fibers in the veins will be contracted and will keep the veins in a better tone to let the venous return come back. लेकिन अगर स्मूथ मसल फाइबर्स रिलैक्स हो जाएं आर्टेरियोल्स के और वेन्स के, तो दे आर नॉट एबल टू मेंटेन द वॉल्यूम, वो फैल जाएंगे, और जब वो फैल जाएंगे तो वॉल्यूम इंक्रीज हो जाएगा ऑफ द सर्कुलेटरी ट्री, जिसकी वजह से वो वॉल्यूम के अंदर पड़ा रह जाएगा ब्लड और वो वापस हार्ट की तरफ नहीं आएगा. सो द वेन्स में पड़ा रह जाएगा, कैपिलरीज में पड़ा रह जाएगा और हार्ट की तरफ नहीं आएगा. सो दैट विल डिक्रीज द venous return. Then the pumps, of course these are the skeletal muscles. When the respiratory pump is moving, the right atrial pressure is 0. So the fourth point in the determination of end diastolic volume, that determines the stroke volume, and of course because of the stroke volume that determines the cardiac output. The fourth point is venous return. So the venous return depends upon total blood volume. If you have more blood volume, more will be coming back from the vessels into the heart. So that will increase the venous return. Or अगर hemorrhage हो गया है, blood loss हो गया है, the total blood volume will be less, and of course then the venous return will be less. Mean systemic filling pressure. This is the pressure present in the circulatory tree, in the systemic circulatory tree, when the heart is disconnected from the great vessels. Heart is disconnected from the great vessels experimentally by clamping the aorta and by clamping the superior and inferior vena cava. So at this time, the suction pressure of the right atrium is not there to promote the venous return, and with the same at the same time, the systolic push of the left ventricle is not present to affect the pressure in the aorta. कि उसमें तो 120 बाई 120 मिलीमीटर ऑफ मर्करी तो हो जाता है ना उसमें, फिर जब आप पंप कर रहे होते हैं तो वो भी नहीं होगा. So whatever blood is present within the blood vessels in the systemic circulation remains there. So nothing is coming from heart and nothing is going back from to the heart because the heart has been disconnected. At this moment, if you measure pressure at different points in the circulatory tree, systemic circulatory tree, and then take an average of these pressures, that will be called mean systemic filling pressure, and the value of mean systemic filling pressure normally is 7 millimeter of mercury. Then you talk about total peripheral resistance. हमने ये भी शुरू में पढ़ लिया था जब हम सर्कुलेशन कर रहे थे हेमोडायनामिक्स में कि the peripheral resistance affects the blood flow, and as the cardiac output is heart rate into stroke volume, and the stroke volume is depending on the venous return, and the venous return is depending on the total peripheral resistance, so the cardiac output is dependent on the total peripheral resistance. अगर आपकी ब्लड वेसल्स की टोन अच्छी होगी, वो कंप्रेस कर रही होंगी ब्लड को टुवर्ड्स द हार्ट, जो आर्टीरियोल्स हैं वो भी और जो वेन्स हैं वो भी, तो वीनस रिटर्न बेहतर होगा. और अगर स्मूथ मसल फाइबर्स जो हैं किसी ड्रग की वजह से या फिर किसी नर्वस प्रॉब्लम की वजह से इन द ऑटोनॉमिक नर्वस सिस्टम, सिंपैथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम, अगर स्मूथ मसल फाइबर्स रिलैक्स पड़े हुए हैं एंड दे आर नॉट प्रेसिंग अपॉन द ब्लड वॉल्यूम प्रेजेंट इन द वेसल्स, जिसके इर्द गिर्द स्मूथ मसल फाइबर जैसे आर्टीरियोल के गिर्द होते हैं, वेन्स के गिर्द होते हैं, अगर वो जो है वो कंप्रेस नहीं कर रहे हैं ब्लड को कि वो आगे जाए और फ्लो करे, तो फिर वीनस रिटर्न बेहतर नहीं होगा. पंप्स. The skeletal muscles in the calf push the venous venous blood in the veins of the calf upwards, and the respiratory muscles in the chest, when there is inspiration, the negative intrathoracic pressure created by the respiratory muscle contraction in the chest pulls the blood towards the thoracic cavity. दो pumps हैं, skeletal muscle in the calf push the blood towards the heart, and the respiratory pump in the chest pulls the blood towards the heart. Then there is right atrial pressure. अगर right atrial pressure 0 है, जो कि normally होता है, तो venous return is good. If the right atrial pressure increases, then the veins are not able to empty themselves into an already filled atrium, so the venous return decreases. Venous tone, that is same thing. Sympathetic nerves that were supplying the arteriolar blood vessels, smooth muscle fibers, are also supplying the smooth muscle vessels, smooth muscle fibers in the veins, and because of that, the venous tone, if it is good, if the sympathetic supply is good, if the muscles are healthy, this will produce good venous return because the veins would compress upon the blood to go back towards the heart. varicose veins and valves. If the valves of the veins are defective, then the gravity will pull the blood downwards, and as the valves are defective, because of that the blood will go back towards the area of the feet if a person is standing or sitting, and this will decrease the venous return. So it is going to oppose the venous return. So अभी तक आपने क्या पढ़ा? आपने intrinsic control of the force of heart contraction by the sympathetic by the Frank Starling's law पढ़ा था, और अब आप you are going to study extrinsic control of the force of the heart contraction by sympathetic and the parasympathetic nerves. So the pumping effectiveness of the heart is controlled by sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves. A strong vagal stimulation decreases the cardiac output or cardiac pumping by 30%. And by sympathetic nerves, the cardiac output can be increased by more than 100%. And if you decrease the sympathetic output, it can decrease the cardiac output by 30%. मतलब ये है कि अगर आप सिंपैथेटिक वेगस नर्व को स्टिमुलेट कर दें तो कार्डियक पंपिंग जो है वो 30% डिक्रीज हो जाएगी, और अगर आप सिंपैथेटिक नर्व्स को स्टिमुलेट कर दें तो इट कैन इंक्रीज द कार्डियक पंपिंग बाय 100%, कार्डियक आउटपुट बाय 100%। लेकिन इसके अंदर कुछ तो आपका स्ट्रोक वॉल्यूम इंक्रीज होगा फोर्स ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्शन से, और दूसरी तरफ हार्ट रेट इंक्रीज होगा। उन दोनों को मिला के कार्डियक आउटपुट कैन बी इंक्रीज बाय 100% by the sympathetic nerves. Whereas if you decrease the sympathetic output, तो इतना ज़्यादा हार्ट रेट और स्ट्रोक वॉल्यूम कम होगा कि कार्डिक आउटपुट जो है वो 30% डिक्रीज हो जाए। So we are repeating the same information in this graph. This graph you can see in your Guyton in the nervous stimulation of the heart, and it is showing you that sympathetic stimulation increases the entry of calcium in the cell, and because of that it produces increased force of contraction and increased stroke volume, whereas parasympathetic stimulation decreases the stroke volume and cardiac output. Now talking about the parasympathetic stimulation of the heart, the ventricles are not supplied by parasympathetic nerves. We can say that the force of ventricular contraction is not affected by the parasympathetic nerves, but some experiments have shown a decrease in the force of contraction and stroke volume by parasympathetic stimulation. तो ये experimental है, इसके ऊपर हम अभी कोई discussion नहीं कर सकते। In the original lecture that we have discussed previously, I have already given you the detail that normally the stroke volume is 70 milliliters, whereas if you increase the sympathetic stimulation, the end systolic volume increases because the force of contraction increases, and you take a stroke volume 200 milliliter. And when you increase the venous return, then the end diastolic volume also increases, and systolic volume is at its minimum, and the stroke volume is maximally increased to 140 milliliters. And we have also discussed this positive feedback phenomena. Sympathetic activity जब भी आपकी increase होगी, एक तरफ आपके हार्ट की जो फोर्स ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्शन है वो बढ़ेगी, दूसरी तरफ आपका वीनस रिटर्न बढ़ेगा, वीनस रिटर्न विल इंक्रीज द एंड डायस्टोलिक वॉल्यूम, एंड दैट विल कॉज फ्रैंक स्टार्लिंग्स लॉ to increase the force of contraction. This is 1 plus, this is 1 plus, the two together give you a very good stroke volume, that is 140 milliliters per minute. We have had this discussion in detail during our previous lecture, so just continuing with the facts that the factors affecting the stroke volume or the volume of blood ejected by the heart in one beat are the intrinsic factors, the nervous factors, and then the केमिकल फैक्टर्स, इसको ह्यूमरल भी कहते हैं. हाइपोक्सिया मीन्स डिक्रीज ऑक्सीजन, एसिडोसिस मीन डिक्रीज pH, and these two affect the stroke volume by affecting the force of contraction. Increased ECF potassium level, this makes the resting membrane potential less negative. इस चीज को सीखने के लिए आपको वापस अपने नर्व मसल physiology पर जाना पड़ेगा. When the RMP is less negative, meaning if it is minus 70 instead of minus 90, the height of action potential is decreased, and because of that force of contraction is flaccid. When you decrease the ECF calcium, the force of contraction generated by cross-bridge cycling is decreased and the heart is flaccid. Coming to the temperature, temporarily when you increase the temperature, it increases the entry of calcium into the heart muscle, and this increases the force of contraction and so the stroke volume. Whereas if you continue to increase the temperature, prolonged fever हो जाए, so there is metabolic exhaustion, and this causes decreased ATP availability and of course weakness of the contraction. So here we are with the afterload. If the person is having high blood pressure, that is, if the arterial pressure that you record is above 160 millimeter of mercury systolic, then the normal sized heart cannot pump normal stroke volume into that blood vessel, into the aorta. So the heart is increased in size. अगर continuously आपका बीपी 160 से above है ना, तो फिर हार्ट जो है वो कंटिन्यूसली एफर्ट करता रहेगा स्ट्रोक वॉल्यूम देने की, तो उसका साइज बड़ा हो जाएगा. कोई एक आध बीट में ऐसा नहीं होता. So if the arterial pressure goes above 160 millimeter of mercury, then the normal sized heart cannot pump normal stroke volume. So the wide left ventricle hypertrophies. और अगर हाइपरट्रफी बहुत ही ज़्यादा हो जाए तो क्या होता है, एक्सटेंसिव हाइपरट्रफी इज नॉट accompanied with an increase in vascularity. accompanied का मतलब होता है कि उसके साथ साथ जो ब्लड वेसल ज़्यादा होनी चाहिए थी, नॉट accompanied, अब वो नहीं बढ़ रही हैं. ब्लड वेसल्स कैसे इतनी तेज़ी से बढ़ जाएंगी? तो जब ब्लड वेसल्स नहीं बढ़ेंगी तो देयर विल बी इस्कीमिया. इस्कीमिया मीन्स lack of blood supply, and this weakens the myocardium and this decreases the stroke volume.